Welcome to Wednesday, the 24th of February, 2021. Thanks for tuning in to the Day Weather Podcast. Not as windy today. Boy, is it nice to start the day without seeing the wind so strong. That's going to be a big relief for travelers across the Intermountain West. We'll have a break in the wind today, but a bit of snow is coming tonight. And as we get into early tomorrow, for some of you watching and listening to this podcast, there's going to be a small little snow event for Colorado and extreme southern Wyoming tonight. We'll talk about that here in a minute. We're going to see some snow developing as a small system comes southeast out of Utah and into the Colorado Front Range. Now, the pattern stays active this weekend and into next week, but it looks like most of the significant snow is going to stay on those mountain slopes, those ski slopes. So the mountains will get more snow. That's going to keep our avalanche dangers in Colorado, in Utah, in Wyoming, in Idaho, and Montana very high. A lot of model variability going into next week. Next week is March, folks, and that's when things really start to get more busy with the weather. And then the computer modeling, despite how intensive they are and how fancy they are, have a lot of problems with the weather pattern changes that come into March. So that's going to keep us on our toes, as I think we're going to have a moving target with these storm systems in the next couple of weeks. These are the wind conditions. If you notice right here, this column right here showing the winds as of early this morning along I-80 in Wyoming. Look at these winds. We got 10 miles an hour in Pine Bluffs and 10 miles an hour in Rawlins. Look at Cheyenne, calm. Yes, actually in the winter we can have calm winds, but that is a far cry from the last few mornings, really going back to the weekend. So a much better day on Interstate 80 for sure. Taking a look at what's coming our way, this is the current upper level pattern at 18,000 feet with the 500 millibar chart. We have an area of low pressure sliding out of Utah, heading into Utah today. It's going to take a path just like this right over Colorado. Now, it's not a very strong storm system, but it's got moisture with it. And it's got some cold air, so it's likely as it swings through tomorrow and late tonight, it's going to be producing a little bit of snow in this area right here. We'll show you that in a minute. Now, here's the next system coming in behind it, a low diving into the Pacific Northwest. There's another little indentation up here in the jet stream flow up there by Juneau, and that's going to head southeast right behind this one. So we're going to stay in a wind pattern where systems come in from the northwest, and that's always a good way to make it snow in the mountains and bring snow showers on the plains. Look at this polar vortex that's still up northwest of Hudson Bay. You know, we're going to have some minus 40s, minus 50s up here, so there's still a lot of cold air up in those higher latitudes. This is the snowfall forecast through the next 48 hours, and you can see that the Colorado Front Range from Raton Pass through the Palmer Divide, then up into Estes Park, then just barely getting into far southern Wyoming. There's going to be a snow event that's going to affect the I-25 corridor. So Denver, Colorado Springs, Loveland, Fort Collins, lighter amounts of snow out onto the plains. There could be some travel concerns late tonight and tomorrow morning for those of you commuting down into Colorado Front Range areas tomorrow. Be ready for that. But you can see elsewhere, there's a little bit of mountain snow, but not a lot going on. Now, as we get into Saturday, we start to see a more broad trough get formed over the western United States. That's going to allow some of that colder air to come on in. So it's not going to be brutally cold, but it's going to be a chilly weekend. Just kind of one of those midwinter, late winter weekends where it's not awful, but it's not great either. It's going to be chilly, brisk with the winds, and we're going to see small disturbances in this pattern produce mountain snow. By Sunday, we've got a low coming down near the Four Corners. It doesn't look nearly as strong as it did a couple of weeks ago, but we will nonetheless have these systems coming through this weekend that'll produce mountain snow and a few snow showers on the plains. Here comes the next system coming in off of the coast of northwest British Columbia. That by early next week will slide quickly right across the Central Rockies again, and there it is for Monday night and Tuesday, bringing a front. What's different is over the last few days, the computer modeling has been wanting to put a strong low here in eastern Colorado. Now it has a much weaker low heading into the Midwest, but a stronger front coming in behind it. And this low right here in the computer modeling earlier this week had it here. There's been a really big change in the computer modeling you expect that as we get into this time of year, but that is a dramatic shift in distance with this low getting cut off, actually migrating westward, and this low, instead of becoming a four corners low or a strong low early next week, becomes more of a quick moving system. So this is going to keep us on our toes. Next week's forecast, folks, is a moving target. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Have yourself a great Wednesday. Enjoy the lack of wind, but watch out tonight and early tomorrow in far southern Wyoming and that Front Range of Colorado for a bit of snow.